I mean, that's the trick, isn't it? It's finding what you love to do. I mean, we talk about hard work all the time. It's like, man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession, because that shouldn't be there. I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. There's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. But you always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. Dreams they should be pure. And I think a lot of times, we're born into this world, we actually wind up going backwards. And it seems like the more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. And the more governors we put on ourselves and our ability to dream and to reimagine. And it's always a fight for us parents and for you guys to make sure that your dreams always stay pure. And so it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. I always dreamed as a kid that, it was possible to score 80 or 90 or 100. I always just had a dream. Like sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things. You just kind of, that's at least how I would go to sleep. I'd lay down, I'd imagine playing for the Lakers, and I'd imagine what the uniforms look like, and I'd imagine where we'd be playing, and, the smell of the arena and all sort of stuff. And I would see myself, getting hot, and score 10 straight points. But in a dream, why would you ever interrupt that? You're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, and then he misses his next 6. It's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. And before I go to sleep, I'm at 120 points, And so when you grow up, downloading that into your brain over and over and over. And then, that summer, I made 1,000 shots a day. 1,000, right? That's on top of weight training and my conditioning. I made 1,000 shots, and they weren't just shots. It were shots that you saw in that game. They were specific shots. It was coming out of the corner, going to the pinch post, footwork in the post, coming off the screen. It was very specific. So when you download that into your system and you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before, and you have that dream, then that becomes possible. Why reinvent it? I don't understand that. You go out and play the game and you're just trying to create something new. No, this is what I do. This is what I do extremely well. You're gonna have to stop me from doing that. And if you do stop me from doing that, I have a counter to that. Done. My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have? As a leader of a team, it's also your responsibility to elevate the rest of the guys. And but people tend to get stuck on a lot and saying, okay, the way to make players better is to pass them the ball when they're open. That's a very trivial way to look at things. What you have to do is you have to get them emotionally to want to be better. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves, right? And how do you do that? And in practice, for me, it was a chance to drive them, to challenge them, right? And this is where you have to know your teammates, because if it's late, we just had a back-to-back and we had practice the next day, and you show up and guys don't feel like going through the motions, don't feel like practicing. It's important to know each and every one of them individually, personally, because then you know what nerve to touch. You know, you have to sit and ask yourself, what is truly going to get you up in the morning, what's going to keep you up at night? And you know, when you find what that answer is, you stay true to that. You know, I've built a brand for the last 20-something years, personal brand, which is great, but that is not where our focus is going to be for the next 50 years. It's what we are doing now. Are we taking a big risk? Yeah, but I think that if we focus on one thing and do that one thing exceptionally well, we won't fail at that one thing. So sometimes you got to put the other stuff to bed and focus on what you believe is the core of the company, and that always starts from what you love to do the most. When I started playing the game, everything was about trying to be the best, win as many championships as you can, yada, 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 yada. You get older, you start to understand that really it's about the next generation, that these championships do come and go, right? And there'll be other people that win championships, but the most important thing you can do is to pay everything that you've learned forward to the next generation to come. And that's truly how you create something that lasts forever. Understanding empathy and compassion. Because as a young kid, when I came in the league, it was like, I'm driving this way, and either you're going to be on the train or be on the track. Right? There was no such thing as understanding that people have lives outside of the game, which apparently I did not. But like, if I understood that at an early age, then it helps me as a leader to communicate better. I came to understand that later, getting to know people on a personal level. What are their fears? What are their insecurities? Right? What are their dreams and ambitions, desires, those sorts of things? When you come to understand that about a person, then you can help them reach the best version of themselves. The competitiveness that I bring to work every day is really helping people, in a sense, be competitive with themselves, right? If you're animating something, or you're writing a screenplay, or you're composing a piece of music, is that the best you can do? Right? Don't ask me. Don't say, okay, do you approve? Don't ask me. I'm not the musician. I'm not the composer. You know, right? So the competitiveness is more from an individual perspective. Is this the best you can do? And if the answer is yes, then off we go. I think the important thing that we can do as parents is to lead by example, but also encourage our children to think incrementally. Not to say, okay, I want to be like, Gianna, for example, my daughter who plays basketball now. She said, Dad, can you teach me how to play basketball? I'm like, sure. She's like, okay, I want to be better than you. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's start with 15 minutes a day, right? And for 15 minutes a day, we just stood right in front of the hoop and just shot. Right under the hoop. We didn't move around, we didn't do any dribbling, just 15 minutes a day, just shoot here, right? And you do that for a month and a half. And then next month you step back. And the next month you step back again. And then you start working on dribbling, right? And so I think through actionable things is how we teach our children, right? Because we could sit there and tell them, they're not, we're a kid, we didn't listen, right? But through sports, you can teach them how to think things incrementally, because that's the way they behave. And if it becomes a part of their process in sports, it'll become a part of their process in life as well. My schedule's always the same. I get up super early, I write, I work out, I take the kids to school, and I go to the office, we work more. And then every day I'm there in carpool to pick up my baby from school. And so I don't miss that.